Well, longtime listeners and viewers of the Daverhood will recognize this man, David Sheward, because he's done tons of our Today Yesterday quizzes. He's also been on whenever we've had a Tony Awards show because he is the theater guy. He writes theater reviews for culturaldaily.com as well as totaltheater.com, and he's also started putting reviews on his blog, The David Desk, where he also writes about such things as the Carol Burnett Show. And then what other things are on the David Desk, David?
Oh, well, just this week, whatever grabs me in popular culture, just this week, this is kind of roundabout. On my Facebook page, I watched one video of the Flintstones, and now I'm inundated with clips from the Flintstones. And I discovered that a lot of the voice actors on the Flintstones also did radio in the 1940s. So
Oh,
I did a sort of a blog on actors who did both radio when radio was in its when radio drama and comedy was in its heyday in the 1940s and early 50s, and then later transitioned to cartoons because they could create so many different characters with their voices.
of course. Like May Questel, she wasn't on the Flintstones, but she came
No,
out of
she
radio.
was Olive Oil, and
Yeah,
she also did Betty Boop, and she was in Funny Girl. Um,
on
yeah,
Broadway.
she played Mrs. Straykosh, the meddling friend of Fanny's mother,
Now,
and
let me
uh,
ask. Oh, sorry, please. Yeah.
and B. Benaderet, who did Betty Rubble, also was on Petticoat Junction and did dozens of voices on the Flintstones in addition to Betty.
By the way, do we notice how much this man just knows off the top of his head, David? Sure. And now, how was your 2024?
Oh, it was very interesting. It was a very interesting year. I retired from teaching, and I'm concentrating on writing. With the David S blog, I'm determined to get up to 200 postings in the year, and I just did it. I posted blog number 200 recently, and I'm working on before the new year. I want to get over 200 so that it's a goal to shoot for in 2025.
Oh, congratulations, by the way. So, what was your favorite column that you wrote of this
Oh,
past year?
a lot of different. I will take a topic and try and write different variations. I returned to the Carol Burnett Show for one item about I dug up when I was visiting some from friends in Florida. I went to a Salvation Army, uh, what do you call them?
Thrift store?
Thrift store, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I found a DVD of Carol's episodes for $1, and I wrote a blog about the various episodes that were on that particular DVD. I started looking at the films of John Ford because he's supposed to be the greatest director ever. He's the only director to win 6 Oscars. And so I hadn't seen all of his films. So I started looking at some of his films and writing blogs about them and how.
Is he living up to the reputation? I mean,
Oh,
he's
yeah, yeah.
great,
He
right?
was probably the most influential Hollywood director,
Yeah.
but a son of a bitch to work with, really. So how that sort of followed along, and very alcoholic, tormented, possibly closeted, repressed gay, possibly. Maureen O'Hara says she saw him in an embrace with another man in her biography after he was long dead. So whether or not
That's
that's
gross. So he's a skeleton basically embracing like
no, while
like
he
a
was
dead
still
guy?
alive, she
Oh, he
saw it.
was
While
alive.
she
Yeah.
claimed she saw it while he was alive, and that would explain a lot about. So that I think is that's what I've been writing about.
Now,
In addition to reviews of everything I see and news of what's coming up
well, can I ask you,
on the
in
scene.
fairly recent months, like last couple of weeks, what's like the best thing you've seen on or off Broadway?
Oh, probably Gypsy, the current revival, the sixth Broadway rendition of this classic musical. And in my review, I called it a theatrical miracle because you think that, oh, Gypsy again, how many times can they do this thing? But it was real. It's the first up to now. All the revivals have been, well, the original was directed by Jerome Robbins, and with the exception of the Bernadette Peters revival, which was directed by Sam Mendes, all of them have been directed by Arthur Lawrence, the author of the book,
Right.
and all of the previous productions featured Jerome Robbins' original choreography. And this production has George C. Wolfe doing his own staging, doing it his own way, and Camille A. Brown is the first choreographer to do new choreography for Gypsy. And some people have been grumbling, oh, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's totally new. It's totally different. And Audra McDonald, she's always amazing. And some people say like, oh, people just like her and they'll give her an award for drawing a breath. And she has the record of 6 Tony Awards. Right. But I would not be surprised if she won a 7th, and she would deserve it.
Wow.
It's just an incredible performance. She finds new things in Rose that it's just an amazing performance. And you think that no show deserves the hype, this fantastic hype. Nothing can be that good, but it is. It really is an amazing, amazing production. And Audra McDonald is just amazing. She's the most incredible performer, both as a singer and an actress, and she delivers an incredible performance.
Well, David Sheward, you are pretty incredible and amazing yourself. Remember that we can read him at culturaldaily.com as well as TotalTheater.com and on his blog, The David Desk. Last question for you before we let you go. Is there any big thing you're expecting in 2024, like travel or something exciting in your life?
Oh,
it's coming up.
In my life, I'm going on a cruise. I'm going on a cruise with my brother to Bermuda. It was going to be a classic movie cruise where they were going to show old movies, but not enough people signed up for it. So I said to my brother, well, let's just go anyway. Let's see. I'm looking forward to theatrically. Dead Outlaw was off Broadway last season, and it won several awards for Best Musical from the Drama Desk and the New York Drama Critics Circle and the Outer Critics Circle. No, I'm sorry. Yes, it did win that. And it's transferring to Broadway. It became when the Longacre opened up after Swept Away closed. They rushed in and grabbed it. So that should be very interesting. It's really unconventional. It's a very unusual musical about the corpse of an outlaw, a minor outlaw in the Wild West, and the journey that it makes, and it winds up mummified.
Winds up hugging a man while Maureen O'Hara is watching. It's a
yes, and it winds up on an amusement ride, a haunted house ride on an amusement pier.
Cool.
So it sort of it makes comments about pop culture, about celebrity culture, about the public's fascination with death. So that type of on Broadway, a Broadway musical for people who want just entertainment. So it should be really interesting to see how it does.
If they brought Hedwig and James Joyce's The Dead as both musicals to Broadway, that could make it too. But David Sheward, hoping to see you at the theater all year long. Wishing you a wonderful cruise. Wishing you and your husband a terrific 2025. And thank you so much for joining us once more in the Daverhood.
Happy New Year, everybody.